trying to not make it sound like so scripted all the time.
I don't know how to make it sound like flow naturally.
A lot of people struggle with authenticity when they're recording because reading is different from a conversational tone. And getting a conversational tone while you're reading takes practice. And unfortunately, that's the best advice. And it takes time. There's not like an easy fix. It's the more I practice speaking to that black circle that is a camera instead of a human being, the more I begin to think of that as a human being, and the more that I begin to make it more conversational.
And the other thing was time. Like, I feel like I'm talking forever, but then I'll look back at the video and it's like a minute and 30 seconds.
Using stories in your podcast helps to add the authenticity, and it helps you talk like a human and not a robot reading. And it helps it to be more engaging because stories is the original human iOS software, right? The operating system of human beings. We love stories. So looking for places in your script where you can tell a personal, relatable story that will bring your content to life is a great first step. The other part is looking at research and doing some research to build your credibility and say, okay, I looked at these sources and here's what they told me. And here's what the research says about my topic. And starting with that, it can help build your credibility and make people want to lean in to listen to. So just like storytelling, credible research can help people to be engaged with what you have to say because you've done your homework. Those little video embellishments, they help because it becomes a voiceover, it becomes a crash zoom or whatever editing techniques you're going to use. But for the ear, it's totally different. So it's really important to listen to your own script before you're recording it, especially if you're doing a solo episode, because that script becomes your vehicle for taking them into the theater of the mind. And the theater of the mind is the words that we use for radio, but it's podcasting too, right? It's audio. And the audio medium is so much more personal because you're literally in their ear. So they're able to do imagination work that they can't necessarily do when they're watching a video. With a video, the imagination work is kind of done for them because they're watching the video. Even if it's just a talking head, there's still less imagination involved because I'm watching someone speak. But if you're writing for the ear, you're really storytelling for the theater of the mind, which is a very different thing. You want to tell them 3 times. You tell them what you're going to tell them in the preview. You tell them what you want to tell them in your main point topic, and then you tell them what you told them in the conclusion, because listening is different from reading. And we don't usually rewind and go back and listen to that again. I think that should help, especially for anyone like Kimberly was talking about, looking for more time. I think storytelling is a great vehicle for that. And if you want more credibility, I think research is a great vehicle for that. And if you want to come across as more conversational, it's practicing. And some of my friends, what they like to do, they like to actually have a friend on the other line with them. Like they'll be recording in Zoom, they'll just have another friend with their camera off, and they'll be talking to camera and have it on speaker view only, not on gallery view like we have now, but they'll have it on speaker view only. And that way they're really talking to a friend. They're really talking to someone, to another human who's there. And that little hack helps so many people. Claude is really good at writing and marketing in a voice that sometimes takes less work than ChatGPT might. And with ChatGPT, I feel like I have to build a custom project, give it custom instructions, give it custom examples to get writing outputs that I really like. But with Claude, there's less of that involved, I feel like. But the video is not optional. So we have to have a video component. It's just you're being graded on the audio part. We're listening for the quality of the audio. And it's a video with audio emphasis. You used Adobe AI Enhance, but you didn't turn it up to 90 and sound robotic. Maybe you turn it up to 50 to get rid of background noise and just enhance your audio to be more studio quality. That's a really good thing that we're listening for. We're listening to see if, okay, what kind of sound design did they use? Did they use music in the right places? Did they use sound effects in the right places, for example? I have firefly.adobe.com because you can create sound effects in Firefly, like custom sound effects, just by speaking them into existence, just like with the AI. And a really cool feature that we have with sound design now is Adobe Firefly. You can go to Adobe Firefly and you can click on audio, and there's this wonderful text to sound effects. And you could add a sound effect for your sound design and then drop that effect into your Adobe Premiere Pro timeline. And then you have an extra little dimension to the audio that you didn't have before. And this, again, is all about audio. So we have the text to sound effects. Play with them and see what works. If you think about audio design and sound design, those effects and those embellishments add so much drama. They can add such a nice touch. So a little pause and a wolf howling like you see on the screen, if you're doing something that's more Halloween related or, a spooky storytelling kind of podcast, imagine how much that adds to the drama. Or for your sports podcast, you could say, I need a sound of a whistle and a crowd cheering.
That's cool.
Videos are made so much better by good sound design. So if you are able to use good sound design, your video will be more compelling too. And you'll notice that, the top creators are using sound effects. They're using like those risers to make, especially in the intro, to make you want to pay attention. They'll be like, and then everything changed. It's like the sound effect that makes you want to lean in. Those little touches matter a huge amount because they add a professionalism and an engagement that you can't get without this. Oh, I'm going to have Tom be my speaker today. And it's pretty obvious that Tom is an AI. But very soon, it's going to get better because it's already gotten way better from where it was just a few months ago. In short clips, it can be a creative stroke, right? So for example, having just a little 2 or 3 second clip of an avatar in your podcast, that could be fun. Having more than that, oh, that's a robot she's talking to.
Yeah.
Or like just to deliver a line just to have that other voice delivering a line that you don't want to deliver. Like, what do you mean, Montse? Like a rhetorical question. All right, Kimberly, what's a first down? I don't get it. What's a first down? And your avatar can say that, right? You can add those kinds of embellishments with AI that you couldn't do before, which is really cool.
Who needs a friend when you just...
Yeah, just put an avatar up there. Yeah.
Maybe I'll use both.
Yeah, I use both. And the thing is, like, remember, you can tweak the inputs on both and you'll get different outputs. And the cool thing is to ask it to help you prompt. So say, here's my goal. Here's what I want to do. Can you craft a better prompt than this one? And then it gives you a better prompt, which is cool. And you can edit that prompt to better suit your needs. But that one little hack has saved so many people so much time.
Clear.
For the audio, you want to make sure that you use Adobe Voice Enhance. Turn down, not too high, because it'll sound like a robot if you go to like 80 or 90 for some people. But if you turn it down to 50 or 40, depending on your voice, it will get rid of background noise and it'll make it sound like you have a studio mic, which is awesome.
The Firefly thing you were talking about.
You don't have to do it, but we recommend you do it because you're being graded on the audio. And what would be better than text to speech effects? Let me see. Is this the right one? Yeah. Sound effects only. So you can have, car ignition to help tell the story, squeaky door, thunder. Like there are other ones out there like this. I think the YouTube music library might have something similar. Make sure that they're royalty free and you're good, but it still is a copyright thing for your creative art in any context, be it video, be it audio, whatever. You have to have it cleared copyright wise. Yeah, I think it's always easier just to create your own stuff for sure, copyright wise. Yeah, and there's an art there too. The video helps, the sound effects help. Like if you look at how people edit, a lot of the editing is helping you to pay attention because we have an ADD world, honestly. Like if you watch cartoons back in the day, the cuts per millisecond are far higher today than they were, right? Like there's more things happening. And also our visual language has improved. So of course, older movies, like for example, 2001 Space Odyssey has these long, slow shots. And audiences today will be like, why isn't anything happening? But back then that was setting the scene. So as we become more like complex connoisseurs of movies and film, we're able to understand visual language more easily. And that visual language has evolved over time. And now these cuts tell the story real fast. Like you just need this many seconds to be able to tell this part of the story. And so the editing is a really great place to focus on if you're worried about that. And the other thing is the script, like, using Claude and these other AI to say, where can this add engagement? Where can I add a startling statistic? Where can I add a hook or a rehook or a third hook or a fourth hook? You see what I'm saying? Because that's what you have to do to keep people paying attention. You have to keep thinking about ways to engage their brains. And stories are a great way to do that. Statistics are a great way to do that. There's the same things that you might use whenever you start your video should be used throughout your video. Relevant hooks. Like, oh, and if you thought that was interesting, you're going to want to pay attention to the thing that I'm going to talk about in 2 minutes. And making those transitions natural and those hooks natural is also an art to where you're like, okay, I just talked about the first down and why that's important. You really, in order to understand that first down, you really have to understand what this flag means. So you're connecting those ideas with a transition that's also a hook. Use rehooks between acts. That will help. Your scripting and what you're saying has to be great for the theater of the mind because they're not able to see you.
Mm-hmm.
You just create the script, make that your base, and then go back and find video that matches what you're saying. Don't
Mm-hmm.
try to speak to match a video that already exists.
Yeah.
Instead, you have your timeline, you have what you've said, you have your words. Oh, here's where I talk about this. Now I need to go find an image or a video that demonstrates this. And then you drop it into what you've already said instead of trying to speak to match the video. And you're not feeling rushed by this other external force. You're
Right.
going at your pace that fits you and the way that you like to present.